I can tell by the look on people's face like that old man's already lost it. He got no rock saw in that bus. But I do. Here it is. This little cable, what they do, they measure how long a cut they want. If they want a 10-foot cut or a 20-foot cut, whatever they want, and then they put this cable together like so. They put a wheel out here in the far end of it where it'll turn, and then they put a wheel up here close to where they're working. They power the wheel up here with an electric motor. So they run this cable. This cable that I've got is wore completely out, or I wouldn't have it. But a good cable, every one of these little shiny places on a good cable is impregnated with industrial diamonds, little bitty pieces of diamonds. Diamond is a lot harder than granite rock. So this cable running like so, with those little pieces of diamond in there, it'll saw that rock pretty good. They're even able to make a pretty straight cut like so. They've never been able to do that before. So I don't know how much industrial diamonds cost, but I'll bet they're cheaper than a wedding ring. Anyway, this cable has really speeded them up a lot. I'm from western Oklahoma. I know nothing about cutting rock out of mountains. So when I first got here, I asked them, I said, what makes you think it's going to take 50 or 60 years yet to finish? And they said, if somebody invents something that works better than this, and the money gets to rolling in again, maybe we can finish in half that time. So they don't honestly know. They think it might take them 50 or 60 years. There's still several million ton of rocks got to come off of that mountain. But this cable right here has really speeded them up. This is what they're cutting on the finger up there with now. So it's been a real good deal. Get a hold of it. As we slide back down the mountain, I'm going to tell you a little more about Korchak's family history. It's kind of an interesting deal. He had 10 kids, and that would be interesting. Korchak was kind of a character. He had 2 heart attacks working up here. Actually had some type of a bypass surgery done then. Decided maybe he better get his affairs in order. He knew he wanted to be buried on the mountain. He had devoted almost all of his adult life to the mountain. He had raised these 10 kids here. So he went on the other side of this rocky ledge. As we slide up here, you can see the top of a giant gray rock over there. That's solid granite. It's almost as tall as those trees. He went over in that solid granite and dug him a tomb 60 feet deep. At that time, he thought that his wife and all 10 kids would probably want to be buried with him. So when he got done with the tomb, he built a real heavy-duty wooden door and put on the outside of the tomb. And then he put an oversized door knocker on the outside of the door. So he was kind of a character. One of his very last requests was to be buried with a 2-way radio, so they did. I don't really know who he'd been visiting with, but I'm betting the batteries are run down by now. He died at age 74 in 1992. His wife was a whole lot younger than him, and she made it till 2014. When he did die, she said, well, he's been an extraordinary man. He's done extraordinary things. I think he deserves to be in the tomb by himself. So she did bury him in the tomb. Today, her and 2 of the oldest girls out of the 10 are buried right there beside the tomb. Of the 8 kids that's left, 4 of them work for the foundation here and always have, and the other 4 don't. The 4 that don't, they all live down here in this little town of Custer, about 3 miles. One's a preacher. He's got his own church. One of the girls is an artist, I think, and I don't know what the other 2 do. Of the 4 that work here, the 2 boys, which you can't call them boys anymore, they're like me, they're old men now. They're somewhere around my age. One of them I know kind of takes care of the gravel roads, and I think one of them kind of runs errands, whatever they need done around here. Korchak does have 2 grandboys that work up on top of the mountain. The 2 youngest girls, they're the 2 youngest out of the 10 kids. They're CEOs of this foundation. They both have offices over here in the Welcome Center, and those girls work hard. They're up at 11 o'clock at night yet taking care of the foundation business, and nothing happen around here them girls don't know about. They've got their thumb right on it, so they're taking good care of the foundation. Another thing the foundation is doing that's good, about 1.5 miles over here to the southwest, they've got what they call Indian University. They had 60 kids over there this last winter. They've got a few there this summer. I don't know how many. But even though they do not discriminate against anybody, they'll take any color or creed, of course. But they still try to aim it at helping Native American kids that have no way at all of paying for a higher education. So it's already helped quite a few kids over there. They give them a little job to do here after school, and their kids keep that job up and keep their schoolwork going. Well, then they give them everything they need, room, board, everything. If this virus ever gets out of here and life gets back to somewhat being normal, they already have the models of the buildings made that they're going to need. They have intentions of turning that into a full-blown 4-year accredited college and also a medical school. So they've got some big plans that they're going to try to do with that little university as they can, as the money comes in and they can. The yellow equipment you see on both sides of the road, they call this their iron pile. If they get a piece of equipment that's wore out too bad they can't use it, or they don't need it anymore, they park it down here. They never sell nothing. They use it as a parts department. If they've got something up on top that needs a part, they come down here, and if they can find a part that'll work, they rob it and use it. Tonight about 9:30, there's going to be a laser light show. It'll be on the mountain. It's choreographed to music. It's about a 30-minute show. Right there is a little animal that we have quite a few of them. It's a marmot. He lives under that crane. There's 3 or 4 of them live under that old crane. He was about half grown. When they get completely grown, they get about that long and that fat. But I don't know much about them. They say they're related to a woodchuck. These little guys here, they eat weeds and grass. Back to the light show. The best place to see that light show is from your car. You can see it inside the building there, but if you'll just park your car up here on this top parking lot, you can see it from up there real good. If the kids are sleepy, put them in the back seat. They've got speakers up here so you can hear the music from your car. Well, Korchak had him another problem back then. He had 10 kids in 10 years. For me, that would have been a tremendous problem, but he seemed like he worked it out. He got him a little 1-room schoolhouse somewhere, imported him a teacher from back east, got them kids in school, and at that time, there was a lot of families that lived around here and could make a living on 160 acres, and there was 32 kids went to that little 1-room school at one time. I'm kind of betting you get 32 ornery farm kids in one little room. That teacher probably had her hands full. Anywhere up here you can park and watch that light show tonight. It just works out really good. Korchak liked having that school here on the property, because as soon as the teacher would turn them kids loose, he'd get them boys up on the mountain helping him. So that worked out real good for him. The little 1-room schoolhouse is right down the hill on the curve here. If I'd have been running the show, I'd have left it look like it looked 75 years ago, but they didn't. They've got it all painted up, got a new metal roof on it and all that stuff. But anyway, it looks like a new building, but that's it. the last project that Korchak did, right before he died, he built what they call the nature gates, and he just did it to have a display. It's this gate with the shiny stuff on that we're looking at between us and the building. It's held up there by two great big black posts. He had the local kids bring him pictures of birds and animals that used to live here, and even some trees. And he cut those pictures out of a solid brass plate, so it made a pretty nice little display. Way back there was a lot of dinosaurs that lived here, and quite a few of those woolly mammoths had those great big elephants with those big tusks. This next town south of us down here, Hot Springs, they've got a whole mountain of bones down there that they dug out the last few years, and I understand they've got an active dig going down there about every day. I think you go down there and watch them digging up some more bones. When you do see this film that I keep hollering about, Korchak's on there. He talks about a wore-out air compressor. It's that yellow machine sitting behind the gate over here, this side of the building. It's a 1941 Gardner Denver compressor. It's got a real old model Buda 4-cylinder gasoline engine on it. It's half the hand crank. Korchak talks about when he first started, he was up on top of the mountain of what is crazy horse's forehead now. There was a lot of rock there that had to be blasted off of that mountain before they could even start on his face. So he said he built 196 wooden steps going down so he could work up and down on that rock. He said on this old air compressor over here, he would walk down the bottom of 196 steps. He said he would hand crank that old compressor, and then he'd walk up them 196 steps. Said time he got back to the top, pick up his air drill, trying to use it, the old compressor would die. So on that film, he talks about making that trip up and down there 9 times one day, trying to get that old compressor to run. I don't think he got much use out of it. It must have been wore out when he bought it. But I've really enjoyed you folks riding today. It's sure been fun to visit with you. Been fun to kind of get to know you a little bit. I wish we'd have had more time, but I hope it's been a little bit educational. And I am glad we had a clear day to get some good pictures. They never, 2 or 3 years from now, the women never have any trouble, but sometimes the men get to looking at them pictures and they can't figure out whether Crazy Horse is better looking than they are or not. The women never have that problem. Oh well. I've sure enjoyed having you folks. It's been fun. We're going to pull up here if we can find the step, and it just makes it a little easier for you to get off and on. There we go. Thanks so much for riding, guys. It's been sure been fun to have you.